Have you ever felt your heart abandoned in a silent room when the person you poured all your love into suddenly stops and vanishes without a word? There are moments when a single ignored message or a missed call can make you question, when did I lose them? And even more painfully, where did I lose myself amidst that silence? In that instant, you don't just feel disappointment, you feel an invisible void where your memories and hopes are shrouded in a heavy fog. You realize that all your affection, those intimate shares, and quiet sacrifices have become fleeting shadows so faint that you wonder if you still exist in their world at all. It's precisely in that moment you need a guiding light, not to cling on, but to rediscover yourself. On the journey to uncover your inner worth, you will learn to turn pain into motivation, silence into strength, and separation into the first step toward growth. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss the strategies and inspiring stories that will help you stand tall whenever you feel hurt or lost. Stay with us until the end of the video, because I'm about to reveal a simple trick many overlook, yet it holds the key to unlocking the door that leads you back to your true value. Are you ready? Let's begin right now. You start noticing a subtle yet relentless shift. The once instantaneous replies to your heartfelt messages now trickle back in sporadically, and the eagerly anticipated phone calls are reduced to a silent read receipt. In the early days, whenever you tapped out a text brimming with hope, your phone would buzz immediately with a warm response. Now, you may wait the entire afternoon, your heart pounding as you stare at the blinking ellipsis that fades away without a single word. You ask yourself, are they really that busy that they can't spare a moment for me? Disappointment mingles with a deep sense of loneliness, pushing you to the brink of tears as you hold your cold, unresponsive device. Then there are the mornings when you catch them glancing at your story, scrolling past the moments you shared as if watching an anonymous film, yet they leave no reaction behind. You see the scene marker appear underneath, but there's no laughing emoji, no comforting comment, no sign of connection. That stinging sensation transports you back to your first encounters. Constant exchanges of hearts and messages asking, "Are you okay?" Now, all that's left is the silent acknowledgement. Each new view count feels like a rusty blade, carving away at the belief that you still matter to them. It doesn't stop at cold stories and delayed replies. Their tone over calls becomes flat, devoid of the excitement you once heard. During conversations, instead of the lively laughter and emotional inflections you're used to, you're met with monotonous, obligation-like utterances. Their voice no longer lights up at the sound of yours. Instead, silence stretches on, punctuated only by distant breaths that throw you off balance. Your limbs go weak as you try to sustain a conversation they seem desperate to end. You wonder, have I said something wrong? Am I asking for too much? That gulf between your concern-filled words and their reluctant responses fills you with disenchantment, sapping the courage to continue. The distance between you grows not through an explosive fight or a clear conflict, but through an unspoken void. You send a casual, "Hope you're doing well," and they reply with a curt, "Yeah, fine." You switch on a video call in hopes of a familiar face and warmth, only to be met with a blurry image and a hurried refusal. "I'm busy right now, talk later." Then, later doesn't come. It turns into, "sometime tomorrow," "after the holiday," and finally, a void so deep you lose track of when you might hear that warm voice again. Each additional day of waiting tightens your chest, as their unspoken silence constructs an ever-thickening wall between you. You stare at the widening gap, searching for the moment things changed. Gone are the endless coffee dates and promises of "see you soon" with sparkling eyes. In their place is a series of retreats, subtle hand withdrawals, and smiles that refuse to explain themselves. That silence carries countless questions. Do they still care? Do they remember? Was any of it ever real? A wave of exhaustion washes over you, draining the energy you once invested in memories that now feel like burdens. Your heart becomes hyper-aware of every tiny sign. One delayed text feels like a knife. One perfunctory remark leaves a scar. One missed interaction feels like the final period to a sentence. You had believed that bond was unbreakable, that your silent sacrifices would never be forgotten. Standing amidst this quiet abandonment, you realize that your worth cannot be measured by notifications or replies. You ache with self-reproach, blaming yourself for placing too much hope in someone incapable of a lasting commitment. Yet, within that sigh of disappointment and the depths of self-pity, you glimpse a crucial truth. every transformation begins from within. First, acknowledge your pain, because only by owning it can you prevent yourself from being lost in endless doubt. Give yourself permission to feel this sorrow. Don't mask it with forced smiles. Only when you stare directly at your hurt can you embark on the journey back to yourself, turning each neglected moment into the impetus to stand tall once again, confident in your own value. Continuing from the previous realization, once you have acknowledged that your worth isn't measured by notifications or replies, you begin to tap into your inner strength. To do that, you must first understand why avoidant individuals pull away, and that reason is deeply rooted in psychology. There is a principle you need to remember. You cannot control others' actions, but you always control your own reactions. When an avoidant partner goes silent, you may feel powerless because you cannot make them open up. Yet at that moment, you have full agency over how you receive their silence. Instead of blaming yourself or chasing after explanations, you can calmly ask, where does this urge to react come from, and how do I choose to respond? Avoidant personalities often retreat because they fear being hurt more than anything else. Self-protection becomes their shield. They prioritize keeping distance to avoid feeling vulnerable or out of control. They may shut down, emotionally separating their inner feelings from situations that overwhelm them. Their delayed replies are not always a sign of indifference, but rather a coping mechanism to maintain their sense of safety in the face of strong emotions. Remember, while this may wound you deeply, for them it is a survival strategy. On your side, repeatedly seeking explanations, asking, "Why didn't you answer?" or "Did I do something wrong?" quickly becomes a dependency trap. Each query hands them more power. You wait for their validation and spiral into anxiety when none comes. Over time, your inner peace erodes because you have tied your self-worth to their responses. By understanding the avoidant mechanism, you shift from feeling helpless to becoming mindful. Instead of asking them why, you turn inward and ask yourself, why am I losing my calm? And what can I do to anchor my mind? The answers don't lie in their words, but within you. You learn to identify emotions, sadness, anger, fear, and allow them to exist without judgment. This is the first step toward awakening, realizing that only you are responsible for your emotions, and only you have the right to decide how to react to any circumstance. With consistent practice, you will gradually achieve a state of inner peace. Whenever you remember an unanswered message, instead of panicking, you take a deep breath and remind yourself, my reactions belong to me. I will not be controlled. You step out of the role of the explanation seeker to become the director of your emotions. True strength lies not in waiting for someone else to change, but in your capacity to remain calm amid the storm. This path is not easy. There will be days when old habits resurface. You lose sleep worrying, you lose focus hoping. But remember, every time you pause to breathe, every time you affirm that my reactions are mine, you are building a more resilient foundation for your soul. You are not trying to force your avoidant partner to change, you are granting yourself an unshakable sense of self-mastery. At this stage, hope isn't a vague concept. It becomes the firm belief that you can control how you face pain and, from there, cultivate resilience. You learn that no matter how silent they are, no matter the distance between you, you can stand unshaken with a worth that no one can strip away. And this transition from despair to awareness is the springboard to the concrete strategies we will explore in the next section. Continuing the journey from awareness to action. Once you have mastered that only your reactions truly belong to you and learn to breathe steadily through every storm of emotion, it's time to apply the one simple trick that shifts your mindset and behavior. That trick is self-differentiation. Focus on pinpointing the unshakable core values within you, rather than asking, why don't they value me anymore? Change the question to, which fundamental values of mine are non-negotiable? Self-differentiation originates from the psychological concept of self-separation. You learn to detach your identity from external interactions so you aren't swept away by someone else's emotional tides. Instead of measuring your worth by their silence, you identify and elevate the principles you refuse to compromise. These might include dignity. You will not tolerate disrespectful treatment. Honesty. You speak your truth rather than feigning to please. And reciprocity. You believe relationships must be nurtured through fair give and take. Once you list 3 to 5 core values, write them down and place them where you can see them daily. Whenever a pang of disappointment arises, glance at your list and remind yourself, even if they turn away, I uphold my dignity. Even without their comforting words, I remain honest with my feelings. Even if they don't reciprocate, I deserve respect and give love justly. This practice not only reinforces your true worth, but also ignites the inner drive to act rather than wait. Next, practice purposeful silence. It is not about vanishing or becoming indifferent. It's about granting yourself a pause to process emotions without getting trapped in cycles of explaining or justifying. When their messages go unanswered, resist the urge to flood them with follow-up questions. Instead, carve out 5–10 minutes of silence, close your eyes, take deep breaths, jot down your current feelings in a journal, or simply listen to a favorite song. The aim is to create space where you can safely experience sadness, anger, or shame before deciding whether to re-engage. Purposeful silence frees you from the trap of having to explain until they understand, because you come to realize that explanations often exhaust you, whereas preserving your core values lays the foundation for genuine confidence. You honor your emotions by letting them surface, but refuse to let them govern your actions. Rather than seeking answers externally, you reassure yourself, I am okay. I don't have to be understood immediately. I am walking my path with unwavering values. With consistent practice, you will notice feelings of strength and self-assurance supplant fears of abandonment. Every time you choose purposeful silence, you assert your mastery over your inner world. Each glance at your core values list reaffirms your self-worth. Over time, you develop a state where no one can pull you into an emotional storm because you carry an internal compass that clearly marks the values you will never compromise. Sometimes, when you use self-differentiation and purposeful silence, the avoidant will sense your internal strength. They might return with a different attitude or might not, but either outcome no longer governs your peace. You no longer chase an unbalanced relationship. You live for the values you honor. And that is the simple yet profound trick. When your inner values are strong enough, no silence can make you lose your way. Continuing the journey from awareness to tangible practice. Having mastered your mind, recognizing that your reactions are yours to control, and detaching from storms of anger or sorrow, it is now time to implement a clear sequence of steps that transform your inner strength into daily action. This sequence consists of 5 steps: pause and breathe, affirmation, boundary setting, redirect energy, and repeat consistently. Each step is an indispensable piece that helps you build a resilient foundation of self-esteem, tranquility, and mastery over your own life. 1. Pause, breathe. The moment you feel devalued when a message goes unanswered or a tone turns cold is precisely when you must stop. Not to escape, but to create space between the trigger, their silence, and your reaction, panic, questioning. Place your phone aside, sit up straight, close your eyes, and inhale deeply. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 2, then exhale slowly for 5 seconds. Repeat this cycle at least 3 times. This practice not only supplies your body with oxygen and lowers your heart rate, but also signals to your mind, now is the moment I govern my emotions, not their silence. R. Affirmation. Once your mind has calmed, shift to speaking to yourself. A simple affirmation like, I stand worthy always, can suffice. To deepen its resonance, craft a statement reflecting your core values. I uphold my dignity despite distance, or I honor my feelings and need not be understood instantly. Write that affirmation on a small card and place it somewhere visible. As you repeat it, articulate each word slowly, feeling its meaning penetrate your consciousness, reminding you that worth doesn't come from others, but from how you believe in and treat yourself. 3. Boundary setting. Establishing boundaries isn't about building a cold wall, but drawing clear lines between what you accept and what you refuse in a relationship. After pausing and affirming, define specific actions. For instance, if they don't reply within 24 hours, you will not follow up. If plans are postponed 3 times, you will either reschedule proactively or let go. Record these limits in a journal and communicate calmly if needed. I respect our time. If you can't respond within a day, I will focus on other things. Effective boundaries not only protect you from ongoing disappointment, but also send a powerful message about your value. 6. Redirect energy. Every moment spent anxiously waiting is an opportunity lost. Instead of fixating on the silent phone, redirect your time and emotions towards activities that nourish your mind and body. Read an engaging chapter, practice gentle yoga, go for a run, journal your feelings, or learn a new skill, cook a new dish, paint, or even study a language. Channeling your energy into yourself not only builds knowledge and well-being, but also replenishes your confidence and joy. After completing each activity, reward yourself with a smile and acknowledge, "I deserve this investment." 5. Repeat consistently. Inner strength doesn't emerge from a single practice. Pause, breathe, affirm, boundaries. Redirect must become a habit. Set daily reminders to perform this sequence at a fixed time, regardless of whether they respond. When the pang of hurt strikes midday, recall the process and repeat it. Consistency forges resilience, making you less susceptible to emotional turbulence. Emotions guiding action, determination, and self-control. Each step, pause, breathe, affirm, boundary, redirect, proves your power of choice. You are not at the mercy of emotions. You orchestrate them. Tranquility. Regular repetition brings serene beauty. Like a melody practiced until it becomes ingrained, you will no longer be swept away by the hurried notes of anxiety or despair. When these 5 steps permeate every emotional cell, you will find that the relationship no longer triggers inner storms, but simply becomes one aspect of life. Even if an avoidant partner remains silent, you maintain peace and advance forward with freedom and completeness. At this point, you have nearly traversed the path from hurt to self-empowered action. Only one final step remains to unify everything into a new way of living, upholding your values through every moment, which we will explore in the next section. Watch what happens when the 5 steps pause, breathe, affirm, boundary, and redirect become indispensable habits. You will observe a profound shift. Initially, you simply stop chasing every notification on your phone. Gradually, you no longer anchor your self-worth on whether others praise, validate, or even notice you. Whenever a message goes unanswered, instead of feeling emptiness, you quietly maintain your composure. You realize that external validation is secondary. What truly matters is the understanding and respect you give yourself. Your inner peace grows more steadfast than ever. Where once the sting of being overlooked dragged you into gloomy days, now it becomes the catalyst for growth. You start viewing your pain as a signal to pause and reflect. What can I learn from this experience? Rather than replaying patterns of self-blame or attempts to cling on, you harness that sense of loss as fuel to develop new skills, deepen your knowledge, or cultivate healthy habits. Pain no longer stands as an adversary, but as a teacher, offering lessons about personal worth and emotional mastery. Even within the relationship with your avoidant partner, interactions shift toward constructive paths or naturally drift apart. When they maintain distance, you don't chase. You uphold the boundaries you've set and move forward with your life. Those willing to meet you halfway sense your steadiness and proactivity, sparking meaningful conversations instead of the previous cycles of uncertainty. If no change occurs, the relationship gracefully passes like a train through a station free from resentment or regret, leaving only serenity in your heart. You become proactive in every interaction, from messaging etiquette to scheduling meetups. Instead of repeatedly sending questions to extract explanations, you express your needs directly. I value clarity when we talk, so neither of us feels confused. This approach signals to the other person that you respect yourself and decline to settle for a one-sided connection. You are decisive without bitterness, embodying confidence that you deserve fairness and respect. This proactive stance transforms you from a passive waiter into the architect of your experience. You take charge of planning meaningful meetings, politely declining engagements that don't serve you. Each such decision fortifies your conviction. I have the right to steer my life and emotions. You understand that being proactive doesn't mean controlling others, but taking responsibility for yourself. Life becomes richer as you're no longer constrained by the unpredictable cues of the avoidant partner. You allocate time to new classes, genuine friends, and personal passions. Every moment is chosen rather than let slip away. Reflecting back, you see your growth. From a state of anxiety and confusion to one of calm clarity, purposeful living, and self-reliance. Looking in the mirror, you recognize a stronger person, bright eyes, confident posture, and a voice free from anxious stumbles. Silence no longer scares you. You welcome it as necessary space for self-reflection, and the thought, "I am worthy," transcends a mere affirmation. It becomes the lived reality of your daily life. Ultimately, upon reaching this stage, relationships exist as one facet of your expansive world. Friends, colleagues, companions on a journey, but not the sole metric of worth or happiness. What you witness, in essence, is the power of internal freedom. When external validation no longer dictates your sense of self, you unlock a universe of potential where every decision is grounded in firm belief in your inherent value. Now that you've traversed those moments of stillness and steadily built inner peace, let this journey become a profound commitment to yourself. To mark the strength you've uncovered, I invite you to perform a simple yet powerful action. Comment 3 words, "I remain." These words are not mere text, they are a vow to remain true to yourself, despite any silence or departure. Each time you recall them, ask yourself, have I stood firm today as promised? Do I have the courage to uphold my dignity in the face of inner storms? Treat "I remain" as a milestone of your journey, a promise whispered to yourself. No matter how many external changes or farewells occur, you remain whole, intact, never permanently wounded. This commitment becomes your companion, anchoring you whenever doubts arise, reviving hope and fortifying your will. Next, I encourage you to cultivate a mindset of calm, self-respect, and autonomy in every circumstance. When challenges strike, pause and listen to your breath. When emotions surge, remind yourself that you orchestrate them, not suffer from them. When relationships test you, honor your own boundaries first. This approach isn't a rigid shield, it's a gentle armor safeguarding your tranquility and dignity. I believe that as you faithfully practice these principles, life will unfold new opportunities, healthy connections, moments of serenity, and the self-made achievements you've always dreamed of. Each morning when you wake up, ask yourself, how will I maintain my calm and self-respect today? Then remember the 3 words, I remain. You are here, whole, and ready to move forward. Let this affirmation echo within, inspiring you to step ahead with hope and courage, and don't forget to share it in the comments below. I look forward to walking alongside you on this path to reclaim your inner worth one steadfast step each day.